Hi guys, welcome to this special edition of OBS and how to set everything up. The following things I will cover in this video: how to set your mic and audio up, how to set up your capture card and gaming display, how to set up your camera with camera frames, that's the nice frame that goes around your camera, overlays and scenes like starting now or be right back, and how to set up alerts. I'll also show you transitions like this effect here. This effect here. And I'll show you how to add visual effects like this. Or sound effects. Lastly, we'll show you how to configure everything so you've got the best settings for streaming and recording. Then we'll back everything up so you don't lose anything when you move to a new computer or you lose your data. If any of these particular things throughout the video you don't need help with, you can always skip to the next thing. Down below, you will see a selection of different parts of the video to be able to go straight to the part of the video which you want to watch. So without further ado, let's get into it. Hi guys, welcome to the OBS Studio. So the first thing we're going to go over here today is the mic and the audio setup. So if you have your mic plugged in, you should see your mic here and your audio working through your mic. The first thing you need to do is go to your filters. Once you're in your filters, you want to turn your gain up to 16.3. First of all, you have to add compressor. Right, and then compressor will show up here, and then you add your gain to 16.330. It'll be at 0, and that means your volume will be too low for people to be able to hear you on the mic. So you want to make sure it's at 1630. Once it's at 1630, you want to go over to settings. Once you're at settings, go to audio. You want to make sure your desktop audio is at default, so people can hear your desktop audio if you have music playing through your computer or whatever. And then for your mic, this is what we're doing now, your mic, you want to make sure this is on default. And then in your settings, your Windows settings, if we go to sound and then manage input sound devices, over here you'll see your input sound devices. You want to make sure you've selected your specific microphone that you have plugged in, so it is set to your default microphone. Now, if it's on your microphone for, say, a Logitech Brio, which is like your camera or something, you want to make sure it's on your proper microphone. So this is my microphone here, which is a blue Snowball. And then what that'll do is it'll default most of the settings in your OBS to your blue Snowball mic. So we've made sure it's set to your default mic through the mic here and through the Windows settings. Now we can go through and we can go to properties and we can change it to Snowball mic as well. So you can do that with your mic. Make sure all those settings are the same as what I just changed it to, but you have to make sure you're picking your specific microphone. Now, to make the sound even better, we can go a step further, which is install these programs here. Now, I've made a certain file on a separate hard drive, and everything on that hard drive is for OBS. Even the installation files for OBS are on this folder. So I have the audio, the backgrounds that I want, the Elgato capture card information, and software that I need to install, the OBS Studio. This is everything that is installed when you install OBS. Then I have my recordings. All my recordings from OBS go into this folder as well. Then I have my webcam frames and masks. All right. So for the audio, these are the audio files that I install to make the audio sound a lot better and make it sound like a professional studio mic. Even if you have a cheap mic, you install these programs here and you change all of the settings. So I'm just going to quickly install these programs. In the following video, you will see me adding the VST.2 plugin to the system. and then I'll be going through each one of these and showing you how to set each one of them up. But what you actually need to do is add in different versions of this. So first we have Slick. It's called Wider. We want to add the next one, Hotel Nikov. And the last one is Nova. What you want to do is go to your Slick, add in your Slick. Then go to your Wider, in your Wider Hotel. And you want to go to this one, add this one in, and Nova. Then you want to set them all up. First thing we're going to do is look at Slick EQ. We will open that up, go over to German, and we want to change this here, the HP Frec to 50. We want to click this one down here, make sure that's on 85. We want to put the gain at 7.2. We want to click on this EQ SAT, change this down here to 400, make this minus 4.5. This needs to be on 5. Put that on 9. I want to change the setting to deep. I want to calibrate to 9. The gain to 6. And then auto. And that's how you change the slick. That's what we want for the slick. Alright, so now the slick's set. So we'll go to Nova now. Open up the Nova interface. So we only need 2 bands. We'll turn both of these off. Alright, so we're going to change this from precise to eco. I've got this 0.50. That's what you want it at. Want the frequency at 100 Hertz. Now just here is an equalizer. It's a parallel dynamic equalizer. It will help with any sound issues. So we want to change the threshold to -12. Now the ratio I'm going to turn to 10:1. If you're not seeing your voice here when you speak, you want to click on this little in button up here and you'll see your voice and you'll be able to see how your voice is going with the levels here. So we'll leave the attack and the release at those levels and we'll move over to the second one, just here. Now you can see when I go, you can see that the levels are above over here. So you want to make sure you have this selected here and change this to 1.5. So we want to make sure this is 0, the gain 0. We want to make sure this is -25. Want to be on a frequency of 10. Want the ratio on 2.5 to 1. 2.5, 1. Alright, so that's that one. Close that down. Let's move over to this one here. Open that. Want to change this one to 6 dB. Leave this at 100. And zero sensitivity, leave that at 80. You want to change the threshold to -25. And change the precise to eco. The soft knee to 9. Change this to 2.5. We will change the attack to 8. Release RMS to 250. The output gain, we want to put that up to 3. Alright, so that'll help whether you're too loud or too quiet. And close that down. Let's go to wider. It's very simple. It's just one notch we're going to change. Turn this up to 25%. Or you can go a little bit more and change it to 33. Next thing we need to do is put in an expander so we can get rid of the sort of background noise. The compressor helps with that a lot as well, but they'll put in an expander. So if you've got a loud keyboard or something, we can get rid of the loud keyboard. So just follow these settings and should be right to go. We'll make the ratio 3.1, the threshold 33.20, the attack 8 milliseconds, the release let's just go 222. The output gain, we want that at 0. Testing. So another thing you want to do is make sure that you have selected your specific tracks here. So what that does is make sure that your audio is on and working. So I'll show you here. If you go to settings and then you go to your output in streaming, if it says audio track 1, it's on audio track 1 when you're streaming, then you want to make sure when you go here to settings, you want to make sure that it's selected, both your desktop audio, whatever audio that you want to be on stream, you want to make sure it's selected here for track 1, right? Don't need to worry about any of these other ones. I have them on just in case I do something else, but yeah, so you want to make sure you have both these tracks selected. Now, if you want to test your audio and hear the feedback of your audio to see what it sounds like before and after you've done this, what you can do is you can go to an output. As you can see, there's probably an echo because I'm hearing myself talk right now, and that's what you can do for yourself. So you just turn on that and you can hear yourself. If you just want to monitor, you can just go monitor. Right, so let's look at our test here. See how it's going into the red a little bit? We probably want to turn this down just a little bit more. So we'll go into here and we'll go here and we'll turn it down 1 decibel. And testing, see how it's still going in the red? We probably want to testing. See how it's not going, it's only just going into the red. So that's what we want, all right? Okay, so the next thing we can do is add a game capture device, right? So we're going to add in our capture card that records the Sony PlayStation 5 gameplay. So how we do that is we just come down here, we go into plus. We have to make sure it's in sources. We go to plus because our scene, this is our specific scene. So our scene, this is at the moment I'm recording on this as well as creating all these scenes. So I've got 2 different scenes on here, which is like right now, if we rename this, right? So this is going to be gaming and screen capture, right? Usually you'd have them separate, but at the moment we're going to add in at the same one. So that's just your scene, right? You change between your scenes when you're streaming. So you have different things when you're streaming, and I'll show you that later on in the video if you keep watching. Yeah. So for right now, we want to add in a source, right? So we already have the display capture in, which is what I'm showing you on the screen right now. And we want to add in the game capture. So how we do that is we come down here and we go into a video capture device. We'll call this, Gato. And as you can see here, game capture HD60S. That's my capture card, right? So we'll go down here and we'll make it a custom. Our resolution, we want it at 1920 by 1080. And you should be able to hear the game now. Screen a little bit, the game capture a little bit smaller so I can show you what's going on here. So we need to go to settings, and in settings we have to go to video, and in the aspect ratio you want to make sure it should say 1920 by 1080, 16 by 9, and then for the output scale, it'll probably be 720p, right? So you want to make sure that is set to whatever aspect ratio you want to be recording at, or whatever aspect ratio you want to go to your stream or to your YouTube channel when you upload it. That's what you want the scaling to be. In most cases, you want the scaling to be the same as your canvas, right? And then your FPS, you want to make sure your FPS is at 60 as well. Well, come down here to scenes again, to sources again. And we'll go for video capture device again. We'll call this our Logitech camera. I don't know why I've got two game I've got two game captures because it's looking at the screen. It's doing that right here when I'm selecting. So we want to make sure we've selected our camera. For me, I put my camera through NVIDIA Broadcast. So that's it there. So I select NVIDIA Broadcast camera, select it, and then select it again, and now we've got our camera back on through the NVIDIA Broadcast. All right, but for you, it should just be as simple as selecting your camera. For me, I use NVIDIA Broadcast because I use a different background, so that's why I do that. Default device, we want custom resolution. I want to make sure it's at 1920 by 1080. Or whatever you want to record in. I mean, if you've got a really good computer, you can go to 4K, but it's up to you. And our FPS, we want to make sure our FPS is at 60 or 30. That's good enough. Don't worry about video format. And we'll accept that. Okay, so now you can see our camera is right here. And here is our game capture. All right, so you can put your camera up here into your game capture. Make it smaller or bigger, depending on however you want to do it. Okay, so now we've got our game capture and our camera set in. The next thing we want to do is put a frame around our camera so it looks better than what it is. So how we do that is we go here and we click on picture or image. Call it frame. Select your frame. So for me, I'm going to go into my webcam frames. And I have a webcam frame down here. If you join my Discord, you can get a copy of this web frame for free. All right, then we grab our frame and we put it into, so we'll make our frame about this big, right? And see how our frame is over the top of our camera? What I'll do is I'll make everything bigger so you can see how I adjust everything here. Click on Logitech camera or whatever camera you have in these sources. Then hold Alt Control while it's selected. And up the top here, go to the arrow, or you can do it on the left or the right or the bottom. And you can move it up and down to make it bigger. See how I'm adjusting the size of it there? So I can make it, if it's not in the frame, I can make this bigger or smaller to go into the frame. All right. So like that, make the camera bigger or smaller. Okay, so once everything is perfectly in the frame, we want to group that with the frame. So whenever we move the camera, it'll move the frame with it, right? So we click on the camera over here and the frame. We right click. And then we go up to group selected items. So now you see here, whenever I move my camera, I can scale it, make it bigger or smaller, and it goes bigger or smaller with the frame. So we don't have to readjust the camera inside the frame ever again. You can just group them and then, you can make it bigger or smaller like that. All right, so this is the owned dashboard here. What we can do is we can go to scenes I'll just quickly show you first. There's all these different themes that you can get, right? Lots of Modern Warfare themes that you can get, and you see here you can get all these different types of scenes. So I have a dark mode scene that I use, and there's a few other scenes here. But I use the dark mode scene, and I've set up a couple of scenes here. So I've got my starting scene, my ending scene, and my be right back scene. Then I have my camera frame that I created. So if you want to add a specific thing, you go down here, click on add, complete setup, manual, go to create new scene, click on single scene or automatic scene. If you want a full package that's already made for you that has everything in it, then you can go to automatic, but I'm going to go to manual just to show you how to add a camera frame. Right, so you can use the current template that you're using, or you can start with an empty scene, right? For me, I'm going to add a graphic, and as you can see here, we have a lot of different graphics that we can add. So here there is a webcam style graphic. Here are our frames. So you can add whatever frame you want to add in. This is an example. I'll add this one. So here is our frame. Adjust it to whatever size you want it to be. So that looks about right there. And so you can add all different other types of graphics in as well. So alert icons. Oh, I'm just going to do one here, right? So whenever someone does a subscription or donates money, you can grab this little alert icon here, make it smaller, and you can put it up in here, right? And there it is there. And whenever someone gives you a gifted sub or cash or a donation, it'll come up there with their name. I'm not going to go in how to use this whole software. It's pretty straightforward and you should be able to figure it all out yourself. But I will go back to my main template and I'll show you the frame and how I put that frame into OBS. So here in dark mode, here is my camera frame. And as you can see, I have all my little settings here. So my subs, my likes, my donations, everything is here. And this frame is the right size. So how do I get this into OBS? I go up here to copy overlay, and then I go to copy complete scene. The URL has been copied. Then I go back to OBS. Once I'm in OBS, let's make this a little bit bigger. We'll have to readjust that in a sec. Once I'm in OBS, I go to here, and then I go to a browser, right? And we'll call this camera frame owned. Paste that in here. We want it 1920 by 1080. It's very important that you put those in so it matches your resolution. Click on OK, and you'll see the camera frame turns up right here. It's always going to be in the exact same place as long as you have it set to whatever position you want it set through owned. Okay? So it never changes for me. It always stays in that same position for me. So whenever I need to set it up again or anything like that, then it will always be in the same position for me, which is great. Okay. Unless I move it here, right? But as long as it's within the exact position, then it will be in the corner here where it should be. Now what we want to do is add this in. So first of all, we want to get rid of this old frame, which is this one here. So what we want to do is group that with the camera. Okay, so I'm going to select we want to unlock we want to make sure the camera is unlocked so we can move the camera. The camera needs to be on top as well. No, the camera needs to be just underneath the frame. So we'll move this underneath the frame, make it a little bit bigger so it's within the frame. And then we'll do what I said before, which is scaling the camera. So Alt Control, and we'll scale this into position, scale this up a little bit into position, scale this from the left into position. We'll select the camera and the owned frame, right click and group selected items. So whenever we move this whole thing around, it will reposition it. Whenever we scale it up or down, the camera will get larger or smaller, okay? Alright, so we'll unlock the game capture so we can move it. Here it is here. And this is what my game looks like. Congratulations, you've earned a Victory Royale trophy. Let's claim that as well. Claim that. Claim that. And so now for scenes, I'll show you how to add in your scenes. We'll get rid of this gameplay and I'll take you back to the owned website. I'll go back into my dark mode theme and I'll go into my scenes. So I want a starting scene, all right? So here I've created a starting scene with my logo, a background. Now you'll need to figure out how to do all of this yourself. There's plenty of videos on how to do all of this, but you can change. It's pretty easy to figure out. You can change the background. Here I added all my social medias, and starting. The word stream is starting. That was on the dark theme, and I just sort of loaded all the other things into it, like my logo and a different background theme. As long as it looks good here and everything's straight, like the logo's right in the middle, everything's all good. So all we have to do is go do the exact same thing that we did with the frame, is copy this whole scene. All right, so we copy that. We come back into OBS and we want to create a completely new scene. So this one's going to be called starting. All right, so in starting, what we need to do is we need to go down here and add in, you need to make sure you're in this scene here when you do this, okay? Not the gaming scene. It needs to be in the starting scene. You go down here to sources and you want to add in the browser again. And we're going to call this starting scene. And we'll just call it starting, right? It's telling me the name is already in use. I don't know why. This is completely new OBS. Let's call it starting. Owned. Why have I done that? Owned. We'll copy the link there. It's going to be 1920 by 1080. Click OK. And this is the scene here, right? This is what you will see in starting, the starting scene. Okay, so we can make it bigger or smaller, like that. And that's what everyone will see. You click on that specific scene before you start your stream. You click on that specific scene, and this will come up while people are waiting for you to start your stream. So for the rest of them, right, we have other scenes as well. I'll show you the other scenes. So we also have an ending scene and a be right back scene, right? So if you go to the toilet or something, you can click on the be right back. If you go do something, you can click on the be right back. When you're ending the stream, you click on ending. Okay. So over here, you need to create 2 more scenes, right? So be right back. So we have a be right back. Then you need to create the other one, which is ending, right? You can create a whole heap of other scenes, like just chatting scene, so everyone will see the chat in your stream. So how do we get a transition? A transition is when you change between scenes. You see here how it just flickers, or it will go black or fade into the different scene. See how it goes black? So how do we get like a cool transition between those? Well, it's actually pretty small. Let's go over here to scene transitions and we want to add a stinger. So we'll just call it a COD because it's going to be like a COD transition. Then we want to find a video file transition. Now you can get these video files from, I'll show you in a second. I'm just going to add it. I have a file here called stinger transit. So I have 2, but I mostly use this one here. So we're just going to set everything as default. And if we need to change anything, we can go back into it. So you should see here now, there's the transition. An operator face comes up. So yeah, it's as simple as that. So I'll show you where to get these transitions. Just want to go to overlays. No, I want to go to scenes. Just want to go to scene builder, single scene, start with empty scene. I want to add a graphic. We'll go to transitions. Here's one I should be using because it's similar to match in nicely with the theme I've got going. So this is just going to be called X. Alright, so we've got enough. Let's go back and add some more. Add in another stinger. We'll name this one X. We will search, select our X, and then when we switch, it changes. Alright, so whenever you want to change, you can just go back to transitions and you can change. So you can sort by style. You can find whatever style you want. Army, military, medieval, festival, playful. Is the cat one that I don't mind. So let's test the lightning one out. You can see just there how it changes. All right, that's transitions. So how do we set up alerts? Well, first of all, you need to go down to extensions on Owned, and then you need to install all of these different types of alerts and visuals and panels and emojis and everything. So first you need to connect your Twitch account to Owned and give authentication for this app to be able to be integrated on your Twitch account. Then what you'll need to do is click on install. After you've installed, you'll click on configure. These are different sounds, right? So we can put these different sound things onto we can connect them to our Twitch account so people can click on these sounds from your Twitch account. So normally it will take you to a page where you can grab the link and then you can set it all up through your OBS. What you can do to be able to go get the link again is you go to Settings, Browser Sources and Apps, and you can find your links right here. You can add your visuals and everything by copying these links and then adding them into your OBS. First thing we'll do is we'll grab these alerts and sounds, we'll copy that. We'll go back to our OBS. We'll go to browser. We'll call this, what do we need to call it? Alerts and sounds. Paste that in. Click OK. Put it around about here in the middle somewhere. Then we want visuals. So we'll copy visuals. Go to browser source again. Visuals. Paste. Click OK. And we'll put this into the middle. So I'm going to download the visuals. So now we have them both in there for the visual and sound alerts. What we need to do is go to download, install the desktop overlay. Logins required. It should take you to, if you're already logged in, it should take you and say login successful. You can click start with streaming software, so it will start when OBS starts. So what we can do is we can click these effects, and it says your effect has been processed. It will be shown on, and it will come up and tell you who played that. And we'll go back and play again to see what it looks like. Got to be patient. Once everything looks like this that you're seeing on screen right now, you're pretty much ready to go. But there's a few things we need to make sure that are correct within your OBS system so your stream looks just as clear as what this is right now. Depending on your internet connection, this will always depend on your internet connection as well. So as long as you've got a good internet connection above 50 megabits per second download and 15 and above upload, then you should be pretty good to stream. So the first thing we want to do is go over to our stream. We want to set our stream up to whatever streaming service that you're streaming to. So me, I stream to Restream, and then I stream out to about 5 or 4 different services: Facebook, Kick, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. What that does is it takes one bandwidth, so one internet connection where I'm only streaming to one source, and then Restream uses their servers to restream that one source that I'm sending them to all these other sources. So it doesn't take up bandwidth times 5 for me to stream to all these other services. Restream does all of that for me. So I'm only streaming once to Restream, and then it goes out to all these other services from there. So there'll be a link in the description for that as well. You can go sign up with them if you want to do multi-streaming. The reason why you would do multi-streaming is so everyone can find you. Someone watching you on YouTube and finds you on YouTube may not always be on YouTube. They may be on Kick all the time. So if you're on Kick as well, then that's another follower you've gained on Kick. Same with Twitch and Twitter and Facebook. All right, so what we want to do is move over to our video. I showed you before, we want to make sure your settings are like this on your video. But for streaming, once our streaming is all set up, we want to go over to output. We want to make our output settings to advanced. I can't change from advanced to standard and all of that now, but in the top here, you'll go from standard to advanced. The reason why I can't change anything is because I'm recording, right? So for streaming, you want to make sure your audio track is in the correct position for your audio. So you want to make sure your encoder is set to your graphics card, right? So whatever graphics card you have, an AMD or a NVIDIA. If you have a NVIDIA, I recommend going with NVIDIA NVENC H.264. That will use your NVIDIA graphics card to encode the video out into your stream. And that is the best process that you could use to be able to do that. Otherwise, it's going to use your CPU, and you could have encoding issues and slow issues with the feed of your video, and the quality won't be as good. Your computer will probably overheat using your CPU. You want your CPU to do the processing of the applications, and then for the encoder, you want that to be your GPU. So they're working separately. You run into problems if you use your CPU for your video encoder. All right, so always use your GPU as your encoder. So for streaming, you want to make sure that your video encoder is like that. I recommend using 600 kilobits to 6,000 kilobits to 8,000 kilobits. That's recommended. The highest kilobits you can use for Twitch is 8,000. Anything over that, then their systems will flag it and degrade the quality so it's not as good, or even stop your stream from working. Everywhere else, as long as you're streaming 6,000 to 8,000 to Restream will configure your video into whatever bit rate it needs to be able to send it out to the rest of the services, and that will make the quality good. Your keyframe, you want that to be 2 seconds. All right. Your presets, you want that at good quality. You basically just leave everything as it is. So you want that at good quality. Anything below medium is going to make the quality really bad. So medium or above is good. I recommend finding the mid-range, so medium or good quality. That will work for most internets that I recommended the speeds of just before. So as long as your speeds are 15 megabits per second upload or above, then you should be right to go. Multipass mode, 2 passes is good. You can go 2 passes, or you can go full resolution. I usually use it at 2 passes quarter resolution. It doesn't really change much of the quality, so you can go full resolution if you want. Profile high, leave all of this as it is. Apply those settings. Same with your recording. Whenever you're recording, you want to do that as well. So for recording, the basic settings you want to do, you make sure your resolution is correct. For your bitrate, turn that to 1300 so you got really good quality. For your container format, I recommend MP4. That's the best MP4 that's the best video format you want to use. The file format will be a little bit larger, but most services use MP4, so that's probably the video file format that you want to use. Right, so another thing you want to do from here is you want to go down to Advanced, and you want to go to the processing priority. You want to turn the processing priority up to high, right? So it will use most of the resources of your computer to be able to make sure your stream is going to be running smoothly through the software. It'll give OBS priority over the rest of the applications on your computer to run smoothly, so there's no interruptions if another piece of software or something else in the background starts. All right, so put that all the way up, and they are the basic settings that you want to change within OBS to make sure it's good. After you've done all of that, you want to go up to Profile, and you want to save this as a specific profile. So you probably want to change this to streaming profile or whatever you have. Now, after we put all of that work in, how do we secure it and make sure that we don't lose this if we change to a new computer, or if we have a data breach or a computer's destroyed? How do we make sure we keep all of this? I recommend using Google Drive or OneDrive from Microsoft, or an external hard drive to save this folder. So the first thing you do is you open up your OBS software, go to File, click on Show Settings folder. Your settings folder will pop up here. Then all you need to do is click at the top on roaming. This file here, OBS-Studio, should be highlighted. If not, you can search it up the top right here, or you can just click on one of the files and then hit the letter O, and it should bring it up and highlight it. Right click on that, copy that. Then what you want to do is go to the folder. Give me a second, I'm going to have to navigate privately for a second. You go to the folder where you want to back it up. So for me, it's the software and then OBS. Then I've named it as backup. You paste it and it'll start to save all of your files. I've already done this, so I'm not going to do it again. My file's there, I just did it. So it's as simple as that. When you want to restore it, all you need to do is copy again from your backup. So you just copy from your backup folder. Then you want to come back to OBS again, show settings folder, go back to roaming. And then I'm not going to do it, but you paste it here and you overwrite the file system that's already there. All right. So this is everything that I have for screen capture. A folder here called camera and frame. I've added in the camera frame, the camera, and the display capture, which is what you can see here. For the ending, this is what I've done for the ending. That's an ending screen. Then I've got the be right back screen. Then I've got the starting. Then I have the gaming stream. So there it is, guys. I hope this brought a ton of value to your streaming and recording experience through OBS, and it sets you up for your future content creation. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. It really helps with the algorithm. If you know of anyone else that needs help with something like this, share this video and help them out. If you're looking for someone to multi-stream with, maybe hit me up. You drop me a comment, let me know. You can find me on Twitch, Kick, YouTube, and X, previously known as Twitter. I'm also on Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, most of the social media websites, if you want to keep up to date with my videos. If you're interested in content like this, or just gaming in general and you like watching people game, hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications. You'll be updated with the latest videos. All right, guys, that's it for now. Take care.